to yet another episode of Ask Cheshire TV. I'm Mark Nelson, Executive Director here at, fill in the blank, Cheshire TV. You got it, 5 points. I'm here this week on the luxurious, and I do mean luxurious, if you could know what Mike Tuckus is feeling right now, it is luxury indeed, set of In My Backyard. I'm here with Jodi Turner, longtime hostess, I should say, of In My Backyard. Neck and neck with Pat Rainey, vying for the title of Queen of Cheshire TV with the most number of programs to your credit and episode hours, I think.
What do I have to do?
It involves a lead pipe in a dark parking lot, but we don't condone that sort of thing here at Cheshire
like
TV.
Maybe those little horses that you are at, when you're at the amusement park and you're putting the water in. If I can put a little bit more water into that horse, it'll go ahead and then I can
Here's what we're going to do. Every time you come in to tape a show, we'll have one of those set up, and we'll have a proxy, we'll have a youth, perhaps an intern, squirt water into one of those horses for as long as you're here. So it's total hours of TV time, and then at the end of the year, we'll award a plush stuffed elephant to the person who wins.
Very nice.
To be donated by somebody who we haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet.
But I don't think that we really need to have one of those come in. But anyway, are we going to tell her that this is a competition?
Everybody's going to be competing with themselves because there are no winners and losers.
That is right, because this is public access.
This is where everybody's a winner and everybody's tree is seen as equal in the eyes of us who don't particularly care what you're doing a show about. We are just caring that we are here and able to help you do your show.
Right.
So this is the current incarnation of In My Backyard, a show which has evolved from something somewhat different in the beginning. So let's riffle the pages of the calendar backward and go back to how you first became involved at Cheshire TV those many moons ago.
Yes, that was probably almost 7 years ago, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah. I came and did a show. I was working at the community kitchen, and I was doing other local stuff, and Tracy asked me to be on Choices, and I thought, I don't know what Choices is, I don't know what public access is, I don't know anything about what you guys do here. So I sat pretty much in this same position. We had a different background, but she interviewed me, and the whole time that I was being interviewed, my mind was going, because that's what my mind does, and I was thinking to myself, we need to be out in the field. And that's what she needs to do, because then she would learn about all these different things and she could share all of this with all these people in the community. And to me, that was going to be really great. And then I thought, well, if she can't do that, then maybe I can introduce her to my backyard and she can come out and maybe she'll do a show and this will get her started. Because I was really trying to empower her, even though she doesn't know that. I was trying to empower her to do things out in the field. So she came over, and I'm a beekeeper, as most people know, and I invited her to come over, and so we had you guys come out with your little veils on. Some people wore veils, some people didn't.
I just want to point out, I've always been above the law as far as that's concerned.
Rick and Lee both
Ernie,
shot,
I believe.
and Ernie might have, yeah. And so we were out in the hives, and the bees were flying around, and I had her in a bee suit, and so we explained all the stuff about beekeeping, and then we did an extraction of the honey from the frames, and that was sweet. And that's sort of what made me think to myself, well, if she's not going to do it, then I'll do it. So I kind of waited until she finished doing her Choices program, and then I think I talked with Lee, and of course Lee said, Jodi, you can do it. And I'm like, no, I can't. And I said, I just want to do one show, because we did that beekeeping show. I want to do one show. And he said, you know, Jodi, you could do a series. And I was like, no, I can't do a series. I don't have time. I can't do anything. No, I can't do it.
Knowing what has transpired since, the idea of you saying I can't do a series is hilarious, by the way.
It is. So I came up with the bright idea that I think we should all go out into the field, and you guys will do the videotaping, and I'll just do the interview, and that'll be great. And I didn't realize how much work it is to edit. So I think I've gotten smarter from the beginning, although I can't tell you how much I loved going out into the field. And we did programs at Robin Hood. We did programs at
did a great one at Whitcomb Hall in Swansea.
Whitcomb Hall, we've done a couple of them there. You know, we've done all throughout the Monadnock region. And so what we started out at was as a show on the environment. So it was called In My Backyard, and we were supposed to be talking about bugs, bees, and the environment. So my very first show, which I feel is my most important, and I will probably do another one on it, was on pesticides. to me, that was really, really important. People need to know what they're doing in their yards and things like that. And then it went into bees and all kinds of different things. We went to alpaca farms, and we've done maple sugaring, and we've done all kinds of stuff in the Monadnock region. And then I was told that I couldn't go out in the field any longer.
We ceased field production for producers at one
Yes.
point several years ago, yes.
It was a very sad day for me, because I remember being out there one time. I expected that I was going to have somebody doing the filming one day, and all of a sudden Jenna, who was my co-host at the time, Jenna Spear, O'Mara, she and I were out at the Harris Center, and we didn't have anybody to videotape that day. So I seriously called quickly to find out, how do I use this camera? Because I had no idea. I had the equipment, but I had no idea how to use the equipment. So that was my very first time learning how to use the equipment. And back then we had discs.
Mini DV tapes, weren't they?
Right. And yeah, and
Right.
they were $5 a piece.
60-minute duration.
And we had to have two at least, because we had two cameras. We had to have two of those. We also had to have at least two cameras. So that meant 4, sometimes 8, sometimes more. So it was kind of expensive for us. And so that was our first time. I can't tell you how scared I was that nothing was going to be right, because there's all kinds of little buttons to hit on the video machines. And they were bigger machines too. So there was a lot of stuff to lug, there was tripods, there was everything. And I learned a lot really quickly. But you guys were really great, because you taught me how to do things. So
That's what we're here for, yeah.
exactly. And so what I took out of the whole thing is that I'm not the only one that can do this. There's a lot of other people out there that have really interesting topics. And I can't express enough how much I think other people should be doing this, because I am not talented as much as you guys really think I'm talented. No, I'm not. I just like to talk, and I'm inquisitive. I like learning about stuff. And the way I look at it is, if I want to learn about something, there's probably somebody else out there that would like to learn that as well. So that's pretty much how I got started. And again, now I've been doing this for 5 years. I have the In My Backyard show. I'm kind of consolidating now that everything is going to be under In My Backyard. I also have a couple of shows. One was called Back to Basics, which talked about environmental issues, but also how we can get back to basics, like just making soup, or doing yoga, or things that we can do for ourselves.
And that was an entirely
That was in
studio-based
because
show.
I'm getting smarter. Because if I shoot it in the studio, then you guys will edit it right while we're shooting it. It doesn't take me any extra time except my intro and my outro, and I do that, or any pictures that I'm going to add in.
So within My Backyard, the evolution of this show, originally we did the production.
Right.
You were essentially just the host. We took the time to edit it after the fact.
And it took a long time.
And it took a while, because
Yeah.
editing is time-consuming
Right.
if you want to do it right.
It's the hardest part.
And if you shoot a lot.
Right.
And then you took that on yourself, and you shot everything yourself and edited it. Hard
Well,
word to say
actually,
quickly.
no, what I did is I shot it myself, and then still you guys were editing it for
Right.
me. What I would do is I would take time frames, and I would tell you, this is what I want to do. That was a lot of work.
It is like a paper edit, basically.
Yeah, because I was shooting it, then you guys were doing what I was asking you to do, but I had to explain to you. Communication was really hard, but that's what's very important. So I was having to do that. So that's where we went to the next. And then I went on my own.
And you have completed a certain number of shows.
I have completed a lot
that
of
way.
shows, actually,
And
and I have a lot more to show.
And there are so many ways you can go about this.
Yeah.
You can do it. We don't really do production for people anymore, but you can do
Right.
it all yourself. It's time consuming. It can produce very high quality results if you
Right.
put the time into it.
Right.
The easiest way to do a show is to come in here into the studio, because we do it as though it's live.
Right.
So we run your intro, we run any clips during your show, we run your outro, and by the time you stand up to walk out after that 30 or 60 minutes, your show is finished. It's
Right.
ready to go on the
And
air.
it feels like it takes about 5 minutes to shoot the whole thing. I mean, if it's a half
in
an
the
hour
studio?
show, if it's an hour, I'm sure that it feels a little bit longer. But when you do a half hour show, it goes by like that. I mean, it's just incredible to see how quickly.
So now now In My Backyard is entirely studio based. You still do production.
Sort of.
You still do production on your own.
Right.
So for the show you taped today, let's say, you created the intros and the outros, which you gave us ahead of time that we
Right.
run from the computer.
Yeah,
You
and it's
sometimes
really
will have-
easy to get, there's programs that you can do that.
Right.
Very, very
It's
easy.
a template you create, and you're just
Right.
changing the little elements of that every
Right.
time. You create video packages that may play during the show.
Right.
or stills that may play during the
Exactly.
show. But still, when you come in here, so there's a little bit of work you do, or a lot of work, depending, ahead of time.
Right.
But on the day, when you're done with that half hour, it's completely finished. You don't have to play with it anymore.
Yeah. And that's
then
one reason
you
that I
can-
do come into the studio and
You
do it
can
now.
go back out into the world and have your life.
Right. Because again, I have gotten a little bit smarter, but it's been a whole learning process, and it was good for me to learn all of that to begin with, because now when I go to shoot, I watched how they shot, and now I look at it and I say, okay, you need to walk into the picture. You need to say this. You need to say that, or. There's just so much that I've learned over the years.
If you're an editor, it helps so much to have shot some things because you know how it works.
Right.
And if you're a shooter, it is incredibly helpful to have edited things because you can shoot. I always say I shoot like an editor. I know all the elements that are needed. I know to leave a little extra at the beginning and the end for fades. There's a lot of that stuff. So having tasted all the different elements of that souffle is very important.
And I know what B-roll is.
You do.
It's not BEE, although I like BEEs.
It is with your stuff sometimes.
Right. But B-roll is stuff that you'll use to fill in different places, and you learn. It's really quite fun if you have the time. I keep thinking maybe when I retire, I'll get all of the shows that I've shot and edit them all, because I'll tell you 50 one time, but I probably have 75, or maybe I have 100. I don't know, because every place that I go, I shoot. So it's just one of those things, because in my point of view, if I don't shoot it, I've missed it, and you never know what's going to happen. I did a video of the Gilsum 250th, and I don't even think that I've given that to you. I don't think so. I did that, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago.
It'll be a Gilsum 250th 10th anniversary special.
Right. I have it all.
It's history.
I have it all edited. It's finished. I gave it to them to look at, and there were little things that they would like to see a little bit differently, but. There were certain, I didn't get paid for it. It was, again, this is all volunteer too. That's what you have to realize. This is all volunteer. But
if you think there's money in public access.
Yeah, there's no money. But it's okay.
No.
You're giving a gift to the world is what you're doing, is by doing public access. So yeah, I've got a lot of stuff that I still haven't shown. So like when we say, you just do the front and the end and that's all you do. No, I have shows that I'll put in there as I have time. I've got a really great one about cheese making. I have all my favorites. It's just a matter of getting to them
and the elephant in the room, the purple elephant in the room right now, and we're not talking about drinking Robitussin. There's another program that you have produced these many years called Swamp Bat Nation.
I
You're
forget
behind
about
the scenes
that one.
on that show.
Yes.
We love that show.
Oh, I'm glad.
Could you tell the folks at home, if somehow they haven't seen it, what that is and what makes it unique in some ways?
Well, again, that started with me and Kevin Watterson. I go to the gym in the morning. Kevin and I see each other, and I've known Kevin for a long time. So Kevin and I talked of course, I went up to Kevin and said, hey, Kevin, how would you like to do? And he was like, yeah, that sounds great. But he didn't realize what he was getting himself into.
He's like, first, don't touch me. Now, what does it mean? Sorry.
So the very first show that we shot where there's their offices on 800 Park Ave. And we set it up with, this is,
I remember that,
again, and Grace was there too, Grace Goodenough. So we set it up with a picture of the shirt from one of the players. I should know, but I don't. I should know, really, honestly, I should know. But anyway, the photograph was there, and then we had the trophy, and we did a couple of different things. We had Ribby dancing, and we did a lot of stuff. And this was when Grace was just getting started too. Again, these firsts. You got to start somewhere. But so it's different because we have turned it into a show where I'm not doing all the interviews. And we have a host, and I go out and do all of the video, and I do, anything that's going to show in the middle. I do the fronts and the backs, and she does the interviews, and it's cool.
And it runs about the length of the Swamp Bat season.
And we're actually thinking right now, it happens almost all year round, but we're thinking of getting back into the studio. So we'll be talking with you soon.
Wonderful.
And that's how it gets started. They come to you, they talk to you, they say, I want to do a show. This is what I have for an idea. And then you give them a little direction. And
basically.
Yeah.
Our job is, how do we make that happen for you?
Yeah.
You know, what is your set going to look like? What day
Right.
are you showing up? How much time do you need?
Yeah.
All that sort of
Yeah,
thing.
so we go into the back room, we look and see what we have to work with. And like with us, with the Swamp Bats, we had a sign. I said to Kevin, Kevin, can I get something that says Swamp Bat on it? And he was like, yeah. So, you know, he had one printed up. And so I think it says Bat Talk, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I think
I'm
it says
pretty
Bat
sure,
Talk. And so, you know, we have that, and, you know, we'll go out in the field and we'll do interviews with the players. And, you know, it's building community and connecting people. I love taking pictures of what's going on at the baseball games, because you have people cheering, and it's so, I just love being at the Swamp Bat games. For one thing, my dad goes to the Swamp Bat games. So it's one of those times that I get to spend not doing anything else but being at the game, except for when I'm doing video.
Which can be fun too.
It is fun. But, you know, it gives me a good reason to be out there. And you get to see all of the people that the Swamp Bats lighten up their day for. And that's what I really like about doing shows, is I like seeing people smile. Mm-hmm. And I like seeing people feel good about what they're doing and feeling proud about what they do.
That kind of gets me to another one of my, I don't want to say standard questions because I don't write these things down, but the question I've asked everybody who I've had on who's a producer is what do you put into it, which you've told us, and what do you get out of doing this show for yourself? We've established it's not cash.
Yeah.
So,
you know, I
yeah.
often ask myself, because, you know, I put quite a bit of time into what I'm doing, and I'm busy with a lot of other things too. I can't tell you what I get out of it, because I feel good about what I do. And this is going to sound really crazy, but I feel like this is my purpose. You know, the things that I do in my life, I don't go out and I think to myself, well, I'm going to be a producer on a television show. And I don't even think about the fact that when I go out in public and people look at me and they're like, I really like your show, I don't know what to say, because I'm like, I don't do it for that reason.
Right.
So I'm really, if anybody does come up to me and I look odd, it's because you really caught me off guard, because
Right.
I don't even think about the fact that I do this. Once I leave here, I'll go home and watch the show and I'll be like, wow, that was a really good show. But I don't think about the fact that I did it. Mm-hmm. So I can't tell you what I get out of it, because it's not money. It's not anything. And really, I feel odd when somebody comes up to me. So I think it's just one of those things that you have to kind of test yourself and kind of put yourself in a situation where maybe you don't feel comfortable and you made somebody else's day. And that is why I guess I do it. Because I look at people who I think people should know about. And that's why I do the shows, because I like them, and I really want other people to know about them too.
Well, that was the correct answer. Thank you.
Thank you, ding ding.
Something we were talking about before we got on the air, we still have a little bit of time.
Okay.
You were talking about how you love local history and doing shows about local history,
Yeah.
and why it's important. I'm not going to say what you already said, because that's your job. Why it's important to capture certain things and people in these programs.
Well, another program that I did was Remember When. So I'm probably not going to win the prize because I'm consolidating. So I'm now all in my backyard. But the In My Backyards will be about history and different things too. So it's you never know what you're going to see on In My Backyard anymore. But yeah, I feel really empowered to talk about history in the Monadnock region. I grew up in Keene, and I love Keene, but I now live in Swansea, and my roots are from Swansea and Walpole. My grandfather, Chester Lane, was from Lane's Bucket Mill, and I just feel like I'm drawn into Swansea that way. And I'm not involved with local politics. I know quite a few people, but I don't know everybody. But it's a great community. And I feel like for you or for me or for any of us, if we don't tell the story, it's going to get lost. And I know that, you know, there was a series that the library did a few years ago with
The
Cheshire
Reflection
TV.
series,
Right.
yeah.
And that made me feel so great. And then there was a program that, I can't think of what his name is, but he did it in Swansea. I'm really sorry that I can't remember it. But he did interviews with Mike Johnson. He did interviews with people from Swansea. And it made me cry. I had just moved to Swansea. And I felt like, you know, I made the right move. Because when I was growing up, Swansea and Keene, we had our rivalry with football. And,
There are
for me to be dating or to be married to somebody from Swansea, that was not right.
Luckily, there are no rivalries or any kind of angst between Keene and Swansea anymore. That's far in the past. So we've moved ahead as a culture.
Yeah, but the thing is, for all of us, there's a story to be told. And, like Maury, I did some stories with Maury. I absolutely love Maury. He loves trains. I would do interviews with him every day if I could. He has so much to tell, and I felt like, on the show, that Keene Insight, I felt like he had more to tell than he ever expressed on the show. And I also did a program with Don.
Right.
And I felt like, he had more to tell, and we did a program on Keene State College. And not that all the other people on the show weren't wonderful. I talked with all of them, but never maybe did a show with every single one. But, there's people that have a story to be told, and that's what we need to catch. And not every story has to be on history. We did one on Cutler School, and I talked with one of the ladies that was a teacher, or I can't remember, but I mean, it was just, she was very connected. So we did a show with what her style was, and then what Grace was like, and then what Lee Dunham was like, because everybody had a different look on the whole thing. I know we're almost done, aren't we?
Well, I mean, we could sit here all day.
Oh, we could.
Some of us have no choice. So why don't we wrap it up here?
Okay.
I'm not opposed to doing this again.
Okay.
Because yours is a story whose end is far away from us. But the end of this program is not far away from us.
Right.
So I will remind everybody of our contact info. I'm not done with you yet.
That's okay.
I will remind everybody of our contact info. It is, if you want to send an email, it is askctv@cheshiretv.org. If you want to send us an old-fashioned paper letter, it is askctv, Cheshire TV, P.O. Box 903, Keene, New Hampshire 03431. If you want to give us a phone call, it is, send us a phone call? Yeah, give us a ring. It is 603-283-6621. On Facebook, we are facebook.com/Cheshire-TV. And 76 Winter Street, if I didn't mention that already, you can come in and say hello, and we'll give you free tours. This week only, free tours. That's good for any week this ever runs. Hi. So anyway, thank you once again. This has been extraordinarily fun. Pardon the sweaty hand. And we will see you on TV.